My bet's on collapse of the dollar really does take place in November.
George could be quite correct. It could be that our 4-day occurrence in there, from the 8th through the 11th inclusive, won't be any kind of a war, but it will be the huge emotional release that's associated with the death of a currency. Let's bear in mind the coast-to-coast guest last night, which is Mr. Williams, and the idea that the Illuminati are indeed slashing the purchasing power of the dollar in order to maintain certain things going at the moment.
He said, quote, "You will lose 30 to 50% of the value of your money within the next 12 months. And when it happens, don't say Lindsey Williams is a prophet, but just say yes. When he was told by the elite, they still have the power of doing these things."
Which would concentrate the purchasing power in the hands of the people that bought up the gold and silver.
And we also know recently we've hit the juxtaposition of two twin data sets. They're very important within our data work, and that is not only the currency issues that came out as a pre-echo, but at the same time that occurred, up pops this huge scandal relative to how silver has been artificially inflated hundreds of times by paper silver.
The previous fellow was talking about hedges of paper on paper, and that's exactly right. Precious metals are financial assets, and like currencies and T-bills and T-bonds, they trade in the multiples of 100 times the underlying physical.
And guess what? The whistleblower response that we've been waiting for also occurred when the person who blew the whistle on the silver scandal was nearly suicided by another driver in an accident. Let's call it an accident.
And I don't know if you know this, George, but my commodity broker called me up several months back and said, "Hey, George, do you realize that the gold and silver ETFs have fine print that they can give you the equivalent amount of paper? There is no gold deliverable." And I said, "What?"
The big thing with our markets entity this time was all about the derivatives and how the derivatives bubble is finally giving way. And, well, of course, there goes Greece. But we have yet to see the guts of the derivatives bubble expelled from the U.S. economy. And when it does, the horror of that will shock generations.
You seem to prefer silver to gold, platinum, palladium, other metals. So you think silver, will, in a percentage basis, will outperform the other precious metals?
Yeah, and also there's this other thing that, to be honest, I think maybe in 2003, 2004, George and I were discussing this weird thing that showed up about silver, where silver is going to bounce back from its current position relative to gold to a historical mean relative to gold, and then will actually exceed that and may even go to parity. We had a hint that maybe the ratio of ounces of silver to ounces of gold might go through this wild gyration and end up at some point briefly 1-to-1.